going, guys? Black Scout Survival, Late Night Live. Thanks for tuning in. And let's talk about the Biden administration. Let's talk about America. Let's talk about the things that's going on. And, you know, a lot of these names out of the gate you're going to be very familiar with, but I did some digging, and I think it's going to be pretty mind-boggling what we found. You may have heard of the guys like Rachel Levine here, who is the Assistant Secretary for Health, right? You've heard of a few of these characters. You've probably heard of Deputy Assistant Secretary of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition, Sam Brinton, who's a non-binary kleptomaniac with photos of men in dog mask. And he's been arrested numerous times for stealing luggage at airports. He's been in the news quite a bit. You've probably heard of Dimitri Diskalakis, who is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition. The Division of HIV and AIDS Prevention. CDC's Director of the Division of HIV and AIDS Prevention, and also the Monkeypox Response Deputy Coordinator. He's a gay Satanist, self-proclaimed Satanist. You notice the pentagram in the middle of his chest here. Great guy to have over something. You've seen every day in the briefs, Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary who's dating one of the CNN anchors. Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, who went on I think 4 or 5 month leave of absence when he adopted some kids and was trying to learn how to breastfeed. And then we have Dylan Mulvaney, this man who identifies as a little girl who Biden had at the White House to do interviewing and all sort of crazy stuff. We have this drag queen here that dances for children for signing of Respect for Marriage Act that Biden just had him at the White House this week. You probably saw the White House lit up in the New America colors right here, the Pride colors. But what you probably don't know is the amount of other employees they have. You may not know about the 200 numerous other positions in education, Department of Defense, and this will explain a lot to you. I'm going to pull up a website real quick for you. Let me get it up for you. This is from the Victory Institute, and this talks about the appointments in Biden-Harris administration. As of April 29th, 2021, the first 100 days of Joe Biden's presidency, over 200 known LGBTQ people have been appointed to his administration. Is the most in history at any point of any administration, right? So look at just some of the titles here. Asian Development Bank, AmeriCorps, we have 2 people there in this one. Department of Agriculture, USDA, we have Alberto Gonzalez, a senior advisor for external engagement, food and nutrition service. We have whoever this individual is, can't even say their name. The special assistant with the Office of the Deputy Secretary, USDA State Director, Oklahoma. So we got 4 people in USDA. Now the Department of Commerce, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 high positions. These are all high positions, guys. And some of the other people I mentioned, like Sam Brinton and Dimitri, are not on this list. Okay, so this list does not even talk about everyone that's involved. So let's look at the Department of Defense. We've seen a very huge woke movement going on in our military, and pushing the LGBT narrative. We've seen the Marine Corps put rainbow rounds. We've seen the Army with their commercials and these sort of things. So let's just look at the Department of Defense, our military. Alex Wagner, Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Air Force, Manpower Reserve Affairs. Andrea Goldstein, Assistant Director of Force Resiliency, Department of the Navy. Anthony Johnson, Special Advisor to the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. So that what we have right now is the Air Force, the Navy and Marine Corps, and then our intelligence agencies falls under that. We have Ben Chow, Special Assistant Budget and Appropriations Affairs, which is control of money. Beth George, Principal Deputy General Counsel. and just kind of go there. Undersecretary of Department of Defense Comptroller here, Undersecretary of the Air Force right here, Deputy Press Secretary, Deputy Assistant Secretary to the Defense Industrial Policy, Director of Intergovernmental Affairs in the Office of Secretary of Defense. This person is a special assistant. We have Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Nuclear and Countering Weapons of Mass Destruction Policy right here. This is a pretty serious one, you know. Just to put people in based off of their sexual preference, right? This is what this is. They chose people, not who was the best in there. Don't worry, the Army is represented here, Deputy Chief of Staff for the Secretary of the Army. So they're not choosing people based off of their credentials, or they're choosing them based off their sexual preference. So let's just look at the Department of Defense, one of the most important establishments of this country. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Representation there. 16 very high level positions that was based off someone's sexual partners, their sexual preference, not because they were the best person for the job. Department of Education, if you're wondering why the schools, look at all these positions here, right? Department of Energy, again, another load of folks. So all these departments. Department of Homeland Security, Immigration, Schedule Secretary, look, Border Patrol, FEMA, Public Affairs, General Counsel. So ton of positions here in the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Housing and Urban Development. Look at all these positions. Department of Health and Human Services. We have a person for Senior Advisor of the LGBTQI plus Health Equity in the Office of Assistant Secretary of Health. Why this position exists does not, I don't understand. This is a tax-paid position, probably making, you know, $300,000-$400,000 a year for equity, health equity for LGBTQI. And we go on, Surgeon General. There's Dimitri, the Satanist. Rachel Levine there. Department of Interior here. Fish and Wildlife. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Fish and Wildlife Parks. Department of Justice, Carlos Uright, Assistant Secretary, Assistant Attorney General for Legislative Affairs. Department of Labor, loaded. Department of State, extremely loaded, the most loaded department yet. We have an envoy just for LGBTQI, special envoy there, senior advisor for that, probably $500,000 a year position. We have an ambassador to Paraguay, ambassador to Sweden, so bunches of ambassadors of other countries. Department of Transportation, tons there. Department of Treasury, Veteran Affairs, Kayla Williams, Assistant Secretary, Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs. The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, Executive Office of the President. This is actually the most loaded position here. Look at all these folks. Again, these were not people chosen because they were talented, but chosen because they decide, you know, their sexual preference goes along with the woke administration. Farm Credit, Export-Import Bank, FAA, FCC. I mean, we just go on. Look at all these. I'm not even going to name all of them. You can go back and look at this. Small Business Administration, USAID, all these high-level positions. Veteran Affairs right here. So tons of representation. Tons of representation. Okay. So let's look at another one, another website. Pull it up for you guys. The Biden admin, this is from the U.S. Embassy in Japan. Biden administration appoints record number of LGBTQI plus officials. The United States currently has its most diverse administration ever. I would almost say this is not diverse. This is very, heavy on the LGBTQI plus official side. That I wouldn't say that is diverse or representative even of the country. When 4.9% of the population identify as LGBTQI plus, this is not a fair representation of our country, right? This is overwhelming representation for 4.9% of the population, right? This follows the administration's commitment to ensure that United States diplomacy and foreign assistance protect the human rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender persons everywhere. I don't know that that happens because who you hire in a position. Because you look at the FIFA World Cup, they were not having that. Qatar was not having that, you know. So here we go. Here are four of over 200 appointees who have broken new ground. We have Pete Buttigieg, Karine Jean-Pierre, Ned Price, State Department spokesperson, Rachel Levine. So yeah, article there from the Japanese Embassy of USA, giving accolades to the Biden admin for, I guess what they say is representative of the diverse nature of our country. When, like I said, it's only 4.9% of the population. So let's look at Reuters. I got a Reuters article real quick. Now, this was actually, it's not current because I think these numbers are way off now. It says Biden says nearly, this is from 2021, June 21st, but he's hired a ton more people. Biden says nearly 14% of his 1,500 agency appointees identify as LGBTQ+. I think it's well over that now, since 2021. And so he's saying that he's, the 14%, which again, I think is probably like 30%, maybe 40% at this moment. He says that a Democrat, Biden urged Congress to protect LGBTQ plus people from discrimination by passing the Equality Act. Donald Trump, his Republican predecessor, did not officially recognize Pride Month during his 4 years in office. So for all our progress, there are many states in which LGBTQ plus individuals still lack protections for fundamental rights and dignity in hospitals, schools, public accommodations, other spaces, Biden said. That's an absolute lie. There's no discrimination of any sort anywhere. I don't know what they're talking about. This fabricated lie that the admin is using. There's no difference in if I or an LGBTQ plus member going to the hospital, we're going to get treated any differently. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Or anywhere else, no public accommodation anywhere. Matter of fact, they will probably get treated better than I would. And so Biden cited what he called a tragic spike in violence against transgender people, especially transgender women of color and LGBTQ plus youth who have been facing bullying, harassment, academics. And I don't believe that either. I've not seen that. It's a lie. And anytime that there's ever been a case of someone saying that, it's always turned out to be bogus. It's usually perpetrated by one of the individuals from said community to try to provoke some kind of narrative. And so that's, again, a lie. But we have people like Pete Buttigieg who utilize this to take, 4 or 5 months during our transportation crisis where we were not able to get goods into America. He was out trying to breastfeed with that strap-on breast thing, him and his adopted children. So it's a lie. I guarantee most of you guys, and you can let me know in the comments, that had a child, you weren't off for months to take care of a child. Probably not even the women here, but what we have here is an overwhelming number of staff that should represent the common American, right? The common everyday American, but it's not representative. I mean, like I said, 4.9% of the population is getting overwhelmed with this. And where's the representation of everyday American when only 4.9% of the population identifies that way? Our government should represent the population, right? That's the whole kind of point of it. We have this agenda being pushed into every facet of our life, our school systems, everywhere. Every commercial you see now, you can't You can't see a commercial that doesn't have that on there. You know, I went to I had to go get some something for my computer, and there was a poster like of a phone company, like, and two dudes, you know, making out. You know, I mean, when did posters even have like a guy and a girl making out before? I never saw that. You know what I mean? It's odd that we have to have this in our face all the time. Now, think if this was Christianity. Think if Donald Trump said, you know what, I'm going to hire 200 plus Christians. Oh gosh, it'd be anarchy. It'd be complete anarchy. Think if, like, you know, you had Christian commercials every, you know, 5 seconds online, right? But this agenda is being pushed. If you look at sports, like I just said, the FIFA World Cup, America sent its team over with the LGBTQ flag instead of the American flag, right? And then I was actually scrolling through YouTube the other day, and this popped up, this direct TV commercial for football. Football just hits different in 4K. This is a black guy in drag. And you mean to tell me this is a representation of football? Football was a extreme masculine sport. Tough guys. You know, it's tough dudes. You know, dudes like this. Dudes like this. Missing teeth, right? Playing in the snow. And that's what it was. You know, I played football a little bit. You lift weights, you hit each other. The spectators are tailgating, you know, hanging out, tough dudes. You know, guys were playing like this. And you know, I would say football was like, you know, the warrior sport, you know. Imagine all the rugged, hardworking, blue collar guys that all they want to do on Saturday, you know, is sit around with their buddies, maybe cook up some ribs, drink a few cold beers, turn on the game, hang out with their buddies, you know. And then they got to watch this guy dancing in the crowd as being a representation of what football is. And to go along with this, sorry, before I go forward, look at this dude. I meant to show you this guy. This football player, he's smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer in the locker room. You know what I mean? What does football turn into? So I want to talk about this just for a second. You know, we've had a huge target on black men, a huge target on the black community for the LGBT movement, trying to feminize black men in our pop culture. It has been a tremendous effort. And don't take my word for it. Go look at Dave Chappelle. He had done an interview a while back and was talking about how they tried to make him wear a dress for a part, and he just wouldn't do it. And they're like, well, Chris Rock did it. You know, Martin Lawrence did it, you know, and what have you. But they're pushing that agenda heavy on black men in the black communities, right? And so it's all about design. You know, I think it's all about design. It goes with, you know, population control, obviously. It's the path to extinction. And removing masculinity from the world. Masculinity is one of the biggest threats because that trait they fear, right? That they fear. Why do you think they're hitting football? Like I said, football is a very masculine sport. You know, I don't even watch football anymore. I watch college a little bit until it goes totally sour, but I won't watch NFL. You know, and I like football. I like sports. I like athletics. I think it's instrumental. Things that men do, boys do growing up to become men. You learn how to be part of a team. You learn about hard work, dedication, leadership. You know, going the extra mile. You learn these things. But at this point now, it's like it's just been taken over by this new mantra, but that masculinity trait they fear. They fear because that masculinity trait is the one that says, you know what, the buck stops right here. We're not putting up with it anymore. You know, who takes up arms in conflict? You know, is predominantly men, and they're afraid of that. They're afraid of someone revolting. They'd rather feminize you. All toxic masculinity is a terrible thing. You know, I even see conservatives even questioning what masculinity is. You know, they're confused about it. They think, you're supposed to just be docile, weak. No, like I will get in your ass. Like I'm not tolerating it. You know what I mean? They think you're just supposed to bend over and take it. No, that's not how it works. We don't. Like we'll put our foot up your ass is what we'll do. We're not going to tolerate it. Anything that comes between me and my family, my ideologies, my morals, no, the buck stops here. Right. And that's the problem. Even conservatives think that you're supposed to just bend over, take a knee. Right. So it's be, weak. The beta males in the liberal communities, it's huge. But, we go back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden hadn't always thought this way. He was not an advocate of gay marriage. He's just a puppet in charge now. I'll play a real quick clip for you.
Constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage.
Think about this.
You're going to be kind of blown away by this. Like just the way he talks about these things. This is not Joe Biden today whatsoever.
The world's going to Hades in a handbasket.
You're right. It's going to Hades in a handbasket right now because of you, buddy.
We are desperately concerned about the circumstance relating to avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough police officers. And we're going to debate.
He's saying we don't have enough police officers. What about defund the police? You see what I'm saying? Like the roles have totally changed in this man.
The next 3 weeks, I'm told, gay marriage, a flag amendment, and God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that.
You hear that? This come out of Joe Biden's mouth.
Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that.
So again, he hadn't always thought that way, Let me show you this real quick. This LAPD SWAT. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I'm African-American. It's true. There's a push to do role reversal of the genders. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, it really is. It really is, buddy. Appreciate that. Yeah. So the thing is that he hadn't always thought this way, right? And you wonder what the dynamic change is, where he's the first one in history, in presidential history, to make this change. He's not in charge. I can't believe he's in charge, right? I think he's gone. He's got dementia. He probably doesn't even know what he's saying. He can barely read the script. Kamala Harris has vanished. Whoever's really running the country has made this part of the program. This is the agenda for America now. Take guns and LGBT movement. So anyhow, guys, I just wanted to share that with you because it's overwhelming, the amount of people in these positions, right? And the thing is that like you should pick the best person for the job, right? The most qualified, not because of whatever their sexual desires are. Like the colonel putting on dog mask. We did a video last week. It's a lot of it's problematic. The way our country's headed, because we're not making the correct decisions on things. We're making it based off of getting votes because we believe that the loudest people are the smartest people. That's what our politicians believe, and that goes from both right and left side. They think the loudest voices are the smartest voices, which isn't always the case, and they'll do anything to get votes. Votes equals money in their pockets. So that's where we stand as a country. It's very grim. It's very dark, and it gets darker every day. So let me know your thoughts, guys. I just wanted to share that because I knew that most of you probably knew those few names, but the overwhelming amount that's been put in high-level positions. If you're wondering why the intelligence agencies are making the new commercials, while the military's pushing that for recruitment and sustainment and from our generals, they're more worried about compromising our security, our national security, for this woke agenda. It's wild, Anyhow, guys, let me know your comments below on this. What do you think? What do you think the ultimate plan is? I told you my ideas. Let me know. Let me know. Demasculine, men, because that's who fight. population control. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and stay dangerous. Take care.